Folks, we're making some changes on the fly today. We got arrow marks coming at the top of the second hour. Dietz and I are hanging out, and we're going to continue to ask, what must your team do to get to or get back to the Super Bowl? Today, it's the North Divisions. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Snowman here to all you Brock Purdy and San Francisco 49er haters. Shut up. I got to thank you, Shane.
I mean, whatever happened to the games where breaking 100 points was, I don't know, unusual?
There was one word to sum up the All-Star weekend.
Trays. Cause we take this job so serious.
Splash Brothers, yes. Ray Allen, replace him with Steve Kerr. Reggie Miller, yeah.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Let's roll. All right. Let's get down to business. Good morning. Welcome to the tripped up Thursday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. And somebody's going to hang out with us as we ask, what must your team do? And I think it's this guy.
Push the button. Football freaks, gridiron geeks. Bottoms up. Oh boy. Well, that game sucked. Dr. K, I'm sorry.
Oh, hell no!
Snowman, I'm sorry. Well, that game sucked.
Now get out my face, you thirsty bitches.
Oh, God. It's that guy.
Representing this time Dikembe Mutombo and the Atlanta Hawks. No. Hey, Pizzle, a.k.a. Alex Putnam, is with us. Morning, Pizzle. How are you, man?
Good morning. Happy Thursday.
Happy tripped out Thursday.
Tripped out.
Speaking of rejections, remember we did that worst quarterback for your team? I got something for Pizzle.
Hey, there we go.
Scott Mitchell could be on a lot of those lists.
Yeah, he could.
Scott Mitchell.
Did he ever have a successful stint with anybody? Because the closest I can think of is Detroit.
Never.
Nope. You know what? Scott Mitchell could be on a lot of those lists. Who all did he play for? I know he played for the Lions. He played for the Dolphins.
He played for the Dolphins a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Lions, Dolphins. I think the Rams.
Falcons. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know what?
He tore it around. He tore it around, but he was god awful. Every stop.
And to think he was a lefty, and he couldn't do anything with it.
He was with the Dolphins, the Lions, the Ravens, and the Bengals.
Ravens and the Bengals, and he played college ball at Utah. Selected in the 4th round of the 1990 NFL draft. Now, this is how much I didn't pay attention to the NFL draft in 1990. I was busy getting shuffled off to college.
Well, then there were like 20 rounds.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Then they cut it all the way down. That was my senior year in high school. Was getting ready for college and everything. Didn't even know who the hell Scott Mitchell was.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's get to it. In our What Must Your Team Do series, we're looking at the North Division. And we're going to start with the AFC North because they're fun to make fun of.
Oh, God.
And they're easy. And Pizzle and I share an affinity of making fun of the AFC North because of the teams in it.
Well, you got the Bungles, you got the Ratbirds, you got the Squealers, you got the Dumpster Fire.
You got the Stillers, and you got Cleveland.
The Dumpster Fire.
See, even my cat Winnie winces verbally at the word Cleveland.
That's when you know. That's when you know.
You know you're a dumpster fire when
cats.
Your cat is wincing at the words Cleveland Browns. That should tell you something right there. Tiger Stripes Media is with us. Car, I think I read that right, is with us. We'll save the dumpster fire for last because it's too easy to make fun of and it's too extensive of a list. Let's start at the top of the pile with the Steelers, who backed their way into the playoffs because Tyler Loop couldn't make a kick from straight on in the middle of the field. Can they do anything to at least back into the playoffs again?
Probably need maybe a few more pieces at corner, a couple more cornerbacks.
That seems to be one of the focuses on our series, secondary, for a lot of teams. Secondary is the thing, especially after the masterclass Seattle put on in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Maybe another wide receiver too to match up with DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they need a wide receiver. They need to get a wide receiver because you can't count on DK Metcalf.
You're right. They need a core. They need a wide receiver core because DK Metcalf, as he has continued to show, will do something stupid to wreck his season.
Mm-hmm.
So
right. I mean, you go back to all those. You go back to every strong Steelers team. They haven't had one guy. They've had a whole bunch of guys. Whether it's Hines Ward and Plaxico Burress, whether it's Yancey Thigpen, they've always had a group and never just the guy. So they need to build that up. They need to build up their receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They need a running back badly because the second half of the year, Pittsburgh could not run the football for nothing.
Do they really, though? Do they really need a running back?
Yeah.
You realize their head coach is Mike McCarthy. He doesn't know what a running back is. So
that's why I'm saying.
I mean, they'll forget. Even if they bring in somebody, they'll forget. Mike McCarthy will just forget that the running back is even on the field.
True. Case in point, Eddie Lacy.
There you go.
The only time Mike McCarthy puts the running back puts the star running back on the field is when he puts him at center for the final play.
That will give Victor nightmares forever.
Mike McCarthy special right there.
I'll tell you what. When Mike McCarthy had that setup, my wife and I were watching the game. She looked at the screen and went, "Why is Ezekiel Elliott at center?" And I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it at first. She did. I said, "Wait a minute, what?"
Wait, huh?
I took a look.
Yeah.
I took a look, and sure enough,
we all saw it.
I said, "What are they?" I borrowed Dietz's question. What are you doing? And then the Niners called a timeout, gave the Steelers another minute to think about it.
The Cowboys.
Well, the Cowboys, but yeah.
This is why I'm kind of on my diet today, but I'm coupling it with some eggs that I make. The Cowboys, the Niners gave the Cowboys another timeout and another couple minutes to think about it, because we all know how long TV timeouts are in the playoffs. And then
they did the same, and they did the same damn thing.
They trotted out with the same thing. I looked at Jody, she looked at me, and she says, "This is not going to end well for the Cowboys."
No.
Now, you all have met Dr. K. You have seen Dr. K. She is very astute when it comes to football. When she notices before Elliott's at center and I didn't catch it, it's bad. And now Mike McCarthy is in Pittsburgh. McCarthy doesn't know what a running back is. McCarthy doesn't know what a defense is. And he doesn't. And now he inherits what is essentially a mess, since Mike Tomlin saw the writing on the wall. Right?
The big question will for the Steelers will be can Aaron Rodgers can he stay healthy, and B, what is the contingency plan? What is plan B? What is plan B if Aaron Rodgers at his age can't get through the season? Now, he miraculously got through last season, but that ain't gonna happen too much.
You talked about contingency plans. You know who Pittsburgh reminds me of? The Jets. They don't have one. No, even better, since we're in the AFC North. Pittsburgh is Cleveland incarnate. No contingency plan whatsoever. None.
Brutal.
And Pizzle,
they're not Cleveland. They're not Cleveland, because they do have a plan A.
Yeah, they have a.
I mean, Cleveland doesn't even. Cleveland ain't even got a plan A, so they're just a whole mess. But no, the Steelers will go as far as Aaron Rodgers can take them. And we saw last year when Aaron couldn't play, they didn't have a backup to go to. They don't have a backup quarterback. Now, that would be my question in this draft. The draft is in Pittsburgh this year. Pittsburgh is drafting late in the first round. Is this the year they pull the trigger on, a Garrett Nussmeier if he's there, on a Drew Aller, a Ty Simpson, one of those. Hey, they're not the top level guys, but given a chance to sit the bench, given a chance to be with the team for a little bit, could they be a guy?
Yeah.
Maybe. Let's see. But the big thing is, do the Steelers pull the trigger on using first round pick to get the Aaron incumbent, or do they try to get their team, a wide receiver there, a secondary guy, a guy who can have an immediate impact, or do they plan for the future? That's where the Steelers are in a very precarious spot.
They're in a pickle. They are very much in a pickle because, as you said, Deets, do they draft for the future at quarterback, or do they plan for the now at wide receiver? They need both. Damian says, I think the Steelers can win the division with McCarthy because, like it or hate it, McCarthy can win games and develop quarterbacks. Oh, really? Then explain Dak Prescott.
How are you going to develop Aaron? Aaron Rodgers is what he is. He ain't developing.
Not.
He ain't developing.
Yep. Aaron
Rodgers ain't going to develop nothing. He is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why Aaron Rodgers has stuck around, and the reason why he will still stick around, is because he doesn't do what most quarterbacks in this day and age do. Aaron Rodgers does not turn the football over.
Right.
True.
Aaron Rodgers does not turn the football over, and you see it with him. He is the quintessential guy of, look, Aaron Rodgers will do all these things, but the one thing he does not do is turn the football over. And if you don't turn the football over, you're going to be in most games and have a chance to win, and that's all you can ask for your team.
Right.
Big Dog.
So the Steelers will hang around.
The Steelers needed a DeLorean to get back to the playoffs and get the steel curtain defense. That's where we need to concentrate on with Pittsburgh, in my opinion, is their defense. Because we already mentioned the biggest need that they have is a secondary. Because
that's all they need. That's all they need. They've got the front four. They've got a front four that's fine. They probably could use some help at the tackle position, but the two ends, they probably have the two best pass rushers in the league.
Their front four is good. Fill up the middle with they need some depth at linebacker. I've said it all this entire series. They need some depth at linebacker because in the middle of the season, Pittsburgh took a lot of hits at that particular position. They had a contingency plan, but it wasn't. By the time they met Houston, that contingency plan was used up, and Houston took advantage of it. Damian says, question, how does Mike McCarthy not know defense when he had a good defense in Dallas? I question that. And he had a top 10 defense.
Because he had he had a good defense with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn had a good defense. That's why the Cowboys had a good defense.
Yep.
Well, it had nothing to do with Mike McCarthy. It had to do with Dan Quinn running the defense. And that was a very short run. And you saw what happened once Dan Quinn left. That defense went down the tubes.
Once Dan Quinn, Pizzle, you'll be proud of me for this joke. Once Dan Quinn left, the defense does what Cleveland does every year. They tank.
Yep. Yep. Yes, they do.
They once Dan Quinn left, the Cowboys did what they did and they tanked. But don't they always?
They always do.
Yep. It's been a problem, but Pittsburgh will be fine. I really think the team in this division that is the biggest wild card is the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, when my commercials get loaded up, we'll get to them. But I will pose this question. This is why I hate StreamYard because it's lagging right now. Matter of fact, let's get to Baltimore. We'll get to Baltimore right now while this loads up. And Deeds, I'll let you lead the charge. I got to reset and come right back.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, the Baltimore Ravens, and we've seen what they are. They will go as far as Lamar Jackson will take them, and they have put all their eggs in Lamar's basket. And I just think he has been given carte blanche to run around for so long that he has not developed as a quarterback. He has not developed as a pocket passer.
That started at Louisville. That started at Louisville.
Yeah, it started with the Heisman Trophy, and he ran around, made all these splash plays, and
he got the Heisman Trophy as a freshman. And he was given carte blanche then to run around. Even during his Heisman Trophy year, he was given carte blanche to run around and do whatever he wants to do. Not needs to do, wants to do. And he never developed his throwing. That's why I often say, and y'all have heard me say, Lamar Jackson's regressed. As a runner, he's fantastic. But I'm going to use 3 words that's going to tee off a lot of people.
Oh.
But there's one thing Lamar Jackson has never learned to do in his years in the NFL. And I hate using these 3 cuss words, and I know Damien's going to jump down my throat about it,
Uh-oh.
but Lamar Jackson has never learned to climb the
pocket.
He's never learned to climb the pocket, because if he climbs the pocket, what's he going to do? He's going to run.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because what happened? Because that's why you've seen a deterioration in his. That's why you've seen a deterioration in his game. What happens? What happens every year? Every year, a guy gets older. You know what they get? A little bit slower. Reaction time's a little bit less. Their speed is a little bit less. This happens to everyone. And Lamar Jackson, as his speed goes down, what do you have to do? You have to play from inside the pocket. You can't run around and extend plays all the time, because your body can't handle that. Your body can't take it.
You know what Lamar Jackson needs to do? He needs to learn how to be under center a lot.
Yeah.
Because his problems start it doesn't necessarily start in the pistol, because he's got Derrick Henry behind him, which brings this comment from Shane to the plate. Run the ball.
Run the damn ball.
You got Derrick Henry back there. Give him the ball 30 times.
Yes.
That's what Baltimore has been afraid to do since they acquired Derrick Henry, and you saw it especially 2 years ago in the AFC Championship.
Yep.
You got the best running back in the league for a steal from where he was languishing in Tennessee, and you don't give him the football 25 times? You know how many 2,000-yard seasons Derrick Henry could have under his belt if they had just trusted him? There's my problem with the Baltimore Ravens. They tried that. How'd that work out in Buffalo last year? Oh wait, Derrick Henry fumbled the ball. Like Derrick Henry has had fumbleitis out in Baltimore. Like, all of a sudden, they just hit him in Baltimore. Now, whether that's scheme, whether that's something Derrick Henry's doing, I have no idea. But it just happened. Victor just mentioned what you said. Derrick Henry needs to stop fumbling the ball. Last 2 years, Derrick Henry has fumbled the ball more than most of the time he's been in Tennessee. So that is a problem. That could be something that you talked about. Whether that could be because Derrick Henry is not used to taking 95% of his snaps out of the shotgun. True.
So maybe he's not getting the ball handed to him properly. Maybe he's not. He's used to having his pocket up, and out of the shotgun. It's a totally different handoff, and that could be playing in a role with it. So
in the shotgun, you can have a low pocket because you're getting the ball immediately. From under center, and you're 4 or 5 yards, and you're 4 or 5 yards behind him, you got to have a higher pocket because Lamar has to take the snap, then he's got to turn the ball, and he's got to give it to you. And no, this is not AI for the person who asked. We'll continue with Baltimore after this break. Oh, is this AI? Jeez Louise, are you kidding me? Yes, Winnie.
I heard that.
Y'all heard that one, right?
I heard that one.
Oh no. Okay. I will just say I've realized something.
Uh-oh.
Did I not load this up? Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll try this again. And we'll do that instead. Okay. Hang tight a minute. Yes, Winnie.
Could have said it better myself.
Yeah, we talked about Lamar getting better, but the Ravens, three things the Ravens need to do. A, get a guy who can kick the ball through the uprights. Okay, you had Justin Tucker, one of the greatest kickers of all time, and you let him go for nefarious reasons, and it bit you in the rear end at the end. All right.
Yep.
So get a guy who can kick the ball. B, what are the Ravens? When you think of the Ravens, what do you think of? You think of defense. What do you think of most? Haloti Nada, Tony Siragusa. Big hog mollies up front, big defensive tackles that did not move. That it took at least 3 guys to move, and that's why Ray Lewis was able to run around and do everything he was, because it took 3 guys to block Haloti Nada. It took 3 guys to block Tony Siragusa, and Ray Lewis was able to, one guy shed him and go make a play.
Big Sam Adams was there also.
Big Sam, exactly. They've always had star defensive tackle. That's what they need.
That Ravens defense. Sam Adams, Tony Siragusa, Haloti Nada. Put those 3 up front, and you ain't running anywhere. You're not running anywhere.
Definitely not up the gut.
Nope.
Definitely not right up the gut.
Yeah.
So those are the big thing, and of course it's always going to be bringing wide receivers in, because no wide receiver, we've seen it too many times. No wide receiver is going to want to stay long term in Baltimore.
Right.
Like Zay Flowers is doing a great job, but Zay Flowers is on his way out.
Yep. Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers about to be.
He'll have 1 year. He'll have 1 year left. He's not re-signing He's not going to re-sign. Because no receiver, no agent is going to tell the receiver, hey, stay in Baltimore where you're going to catch 50 balls maybe. Like, go somewhere where you can catch 80, 90 balls.
Yep.
Because you play with a quarterback who likes to throw to the wide receiver. Like that every agent is going to tell their wide receiver, get out of Baltimore.
Let me come back to Lamar Jackson here while we're waiting on a break. Jody just gave me the cue to go ahead and finish. Let me come back to Lamar Jackson, because I said this since his days at Louisville. Splash plays will get you nowhere because you're going to run out of them. And I think Lamar's run out of them. Now, I know Damien's going to jump on my back about this. I know a couple of other people. But I said this 2 years ago. And people do not believe me because they want. But he set the record for rushing yards for a quarterback. Yeah, look at the end of your, look at the end of your sentence. For a quarterback, the quarterback is the point guard of the offense, and Lamar Jackson ain't acting like it. You got to put your team in a position to win, and Lamar Jackson's not putting his team in a position to win. Again, I highlight the 2 games that Baltimore had in their house. One a divisional against Tennessee, and Derrick Henry outsmarted him with a jump pass. And then the AFC Championship against Kansas City. Who was everyone looking at? Lamar Jackson. What did Lamar Jackson do those 2 times? He laid an egg bigger than Deshaun Watson.
2 times.
2 times.
That's right.
So until you get a quarterback's coach in Baltimore where they can actually develop him, and I think that window may be closed, because from the look of Lamar Jackson's play, he looks like he's set in his ways. He looks like whenever he climbs the pocket, he wants to take off and run. That's the mindset.
No, he's totally set. He's totally set in his ways. The only way to fix Lamar Jackson is to get an offensive coordinator in there who can get the ball, who can make him say, catch the ball and throw it. Don't make your read, and the throw has to come out, because once he starts running around, he's looking to run. He's not looking to throw. He's not extending the play to throw the ball down the field. He's extending the play so that he can run.
And
like we said, father time catches up with us all. And the first thing to go is your speed and athleticism. You have to be able to play from the pocket. You have to be able to get rid of the football, get it to other guys, let them do it. And you don't have to take those. You don't have to take the kinds of hits that Lamar has taken, which slows him down and has knocked him out. He's missed a lot of games of the last 2 years.
He's been missing games since 2020. All right.
Yeah,
So I had a conversation with a Lamar, right?
Oh no.
And he said to me, quote, Lamar's going to be the greatest quarterback ever. Close quote. I said, that's a lie.
That's a lie.
He said this recently, or he said this in
he said this very recently. He said this very recently. I looked at him. I can't push the button right now because I'm loading up commercials. I looked at him and I said, that's a lie. And
the window on the greatest quarterback has already been shut. That's been closed
a long time. That thing is slammed shut a long time ago. I said, how can you say such a statement when Lamar Jackson is an unproven, unfinished product?
Can Lamar be good enough? Can he be good enough to win games for the Ravens? Yes. Can he be good enough to lead his team to a Super Bowl? Yeah, he can, but he has to learn how to play. He has to learn how to play the position, and you have to basically force him to play the position. As far as, like I said, snap the ball, he gets it, and the ball's out of his hand, and you're throwing it. You're throwing the football. Ball's in your balls. You call the snap. Boom. Balls out, and you're hitting Zay Flowers. You're hitting Isaiah Likely at tight end. You can't hold on to the ball for 5, 6, 7 seconds. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
I'm so glad you mentioned the tight end the tight end position. Is this it for Andrews? Does he get moved or does he stay put?
He stays. He just signed a big contract.
Okay, that answers that question. But
I mean,
I have too many.
They're going to regret. They're going to regret. They're already regretting that contract.
Yeah,
that's been signed. I mean, he really hasn't done anything. But Isaiah Likely right behind him is kind of stepping into that role.
Likely should have gotten that extension more than Andrews. But that's just. But that's just me, and people tell me I don't know anything.
Well, that's the NFL. That's the NFL. That's the curse of the NFL. I mean, Mark Andrews should have gotten that contract years ago when he was able to produce, and they gave him the contract when his contract ran out, which means he's older. He's in the same boat. He's getting older, which means he can't get down the field as much, which means he can't get separation from the defense as much.
Right.
And so you paid him all this money to be Mark Andrews from 5 years ago, and he's not Mark Andrews from 5 years. He's Mark Andrews today, which is a slower version. You're going to have to find ways to utilize him. And how do they do that? But Isaiah Likely has taken that spot of being our tight end down the field. But Mark Andrews has to be your security blanket, not your playmaker on the field. It's backwards there.
Let me finish my conversation with this Lamar, right? And I said, I told this guy, I said he has the nerve to wear number 8. And he goes, so what's number 8 got to do with it? Lamar has to learn from the quarterback who wore number 8, who had to learn to be a pocket passer and became one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. And of course, I'm talking about Steve Young.
But that's 8 in a 49ers jersey. I mean, right now, Lamar, you got to live up to number 8, Kyle Bowler.
Kyle Bowler.
I mean, you're wearing the Ravens number 8. Number 8. You step on. As long as you step on the field, you're living up to number 8 in Baltimore.
If he's going to live up to number 8 in Baltimore, he's got to live up to Trent Dilfer. Because what did Trent Dilfer do? Unspectacularly, he delivered him a Super Bowl.
Well, he handed the ball off to Jamal Lewis.
True.
That's what he did.
He rode that defense. Now to Cincinnati.
Protect Joe Burrow.
That's it. You need an offensive line in Cincinnati bad. bad.
I mean, these last two teams. What do we always say? What do we always say about Cincinnati whenever we're about to pick them? Well, the Bengals will bangle.
Yep.
I mean, they'll find a way to bangle their way out of this.
Since Super Bowl 56, the Bengals have taken a nosedive. Period. They have taken a nosedive since that miraculous run to the Super Bowl, and it all starts up front. Their offensive line, to say that their offensive line is porous would be a horrible understatement. Horrible.
Well, they've spread themselves too thin.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot have all the weapons that they have.
Yep.
There's not enough money to go around to pay Joe Burrow, to pay T. Higgins, to pay Jamar Chase, to pay Jamar Chase. You cannot pay all of these guys and then say, you know what, we're going to bargain bin our offensive line. Well, guess what? If your offensive line's a bargain bin, Joe Burrow can't get the pass off. So you spent all this money on your wide receivers, they can't get the ball.
And they won't get the ball either. And I have another question about Cincinnati's offense. Where is their running game?
It's spread throughout the league. They had Chase Brown. They had Samadri Piran. They had a bunch. They had a bunch of these guys, but they had to let them go. They
had Joe Mixon, who was their premier all-purpose back, and they had to let him walk.
Mm-hmm.
They had to let him walk because they didn't have any money. Now he's flourishing.
And they had to let him walk so that they could get T. Higgins, so that they could have T. Higgins, so that they could have Jamar Chase.
So they used their money on the wrong extensions.
Yep.
Because Cincinnati's running game has been blank all year. So my question is to you, gentlemen, who do they bring in, if anybody, on a cheap contract to tote the rock? Because somebody's going to have to run the football more than Joe Burrow.
You can't bring anybody. I mean, you cannot bring people in to run the football if you don't have an offensive line that can run the football. You don't have, if your offensive line can't block, if your front five can't block, you can't. It doesn't matter who's back there.
It
doesn't matter who's back there.
How long is Najee Harris going to last before he's carted off the field again?
Probably about 6 games.
How long is not?
Yeah,
how long? I don't even give it 6 games. I don't even give it 6 games. But the question remains: who can you bring in to run? Who can you bring in if you're Cincinnati to run the football?
Bring back Nick Chubb. Why not?
Oh my God!
Why not? Let's bring him back.
That's asking a lot. I mean, you're asking again. We're throwing out names and we're laughing about these names, but these are the guys that they can afford. They can't afford to go out and get anybody worth their while. They have to settle. Right now, the Bengals are in cap hell. They have to settle for veteran. They have to settle for veteran minimum contracts, and a veteran minimum running back is going to be a guy who's. I think we talked about this with every team in this division. Slower, older, and not able to take as many hits. Mm-hmm. That's what you cannot. You can't do this unless you hit a guy in the draft in the 3rd or 4th round that happens to be a gem that you get for a very cheap contract.
But who's available there? Who's available in the draft this year at the running back position that Cincinnati can grab
Nick
that
Singleton.
will be.
Penn State.
Say it again.
Nick Singleton out of Penn State.
But Nick Singleton, Jeremiah Love, those guys will be first and second rounders.
Look, Nick Singleton and Jeremiah Love will be gone before Cincinnati can snatch him.
Yeah, unless they reach on a first round pick for Nick Singleton, which I don't think they would do.
No,
I think you would have to get. I think you'd have to get him in the second. You'd have to get him in the second round. I don't think he would last till the third round. I mean, we've seen running backs slide, and we've seen running backs. The running back position, especially in the draft, has been so diminished.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's the second round where you get guys like a Breece Hall, and those kind of guys. They usually go in the second round. Running backs usually fill up the second round. Well, like I said, you're not going to have. They just don't. The Bengals don't have the money, but also the Bengals have a template. They can go back. It was only a few years ago they were in the Super Bowl.
Right.
How did they get to that? How did they get to that Super Bowl? Everybody put all the emphasis on Joe Burrow. It wasn't Joe Burrow that led them to the Super Bowl. It was the other side of the ball. They had a dominant defense.
It was their defense. Let me answer Damien here. I don't see how the Bengals are at fault for Burrow's getting hurt, and it's Burrow. Please spell it correctly. So much when he's been injury prone since college. That should be on Burrow as well. Wrong answer.
He hasn't been in. Wait. Take this apart. Take this whole statement apart. He's been injury prone since college. You mean his rookie year with the Bengals when he got his leg snapped in half because they didn't block for him?
They didn't block him. Right. They didn't block for him.
And then his second year, he doesn't miss a game. What did they do? They end up in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, he's had injury after injury after injury. Why? Because he gets hit. Because he gets sacked more than anybody on the field. He's sacked more than anybody in the league.
It is you.
He's been the most sacked quarterback 3 different times. 3 different times. The only other time, Caleb Williams. The only other time Caleb was Caleb Williams.
Because
they don't protect Joe Burrow. Why? Because yes, Zach Taylor, it is you. There you go, Pizzle. I know where you were going.
There you
go. But Cincinnati's got a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah, they do.
Cincinnati's got a whole bunch of problems, and they start on the offensive line. And now their defensive line is going to get poached.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they don't have the money to protect any. They don't have the money to protect anybody, and they don't have the money. They don't have the money to bring in guys. They have to rebuild. They're gonna have to rebuild through the draft because there's no way they can. There's no way they can entice anybody to come in. And like we just said, we just went through the list of running backs. You have to go bargain bin NFL veteran contracts. That's the only way to do it. So.
Yep. And that's the only way they're going to do it, and it's going to be for you. And it's going to
last but not least. Well, in this case, it's last but certainly least.
Stand by on that. Finally got something Cleveland. We're going to take a breather before we dismantle Cleveland in quarters. Forget halves. All right.
Wow.
Let's take our halftime break, and when we come back, we will dismantle the Cleveland Browns, if you want to call them that. And Arrow Marks.
I was gonna say the quick fix is just blow it up and start from scratch.
But see, that would be too easy.
And that's the fix. How do you fix Cleveland? Blow it up, start all over again. Hey, that's it. That's it.
This is us we're talking about here. Be too easy. A, that would be too easy, and B, that would also be too logical, and C, it wouldn't be as much fun. You know that.
All right.
You know that. All right. Second hour of Snowman in the Morning begins after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel.
I want to do a TED Talk, but I don't have anything to talk about yet. I'm getting there.
Life is for the living. We're not here that long.
You can learn anything you want to learn without any money spent.
What do I really enjoy? What do I really want out of life?
I am your host, WIZE.
Are you in a life holding pattern? Well, this is for you. Welcome to the Stuck in My Mind podcast. Live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central.
Are you ready to upgrade your coffee game? Prepare for an invasion of flavor with Invader Coffee. It's the caffeinated elixir that fuels champions, the blend that pushes boundaries. Whether you're battling deadlines or exploring uncharted territories, Invader Coffee has your back. Join the invasion at invadercoffee.com and taste the difference for yourself. Use the code Snowman for 15% off your first order. Invader Coffee, veteran owned. Attention sports fans, looking for the ultimate gear and apparel to show your team pride? Look no further than Fanatics, the #1 destination for sports enthusiasts. Visit snowmanmultimediasports.com today and shop a wide selection of officially licensed merchandise from your favorite teams and players. From jerseys to hats to accessories to collectibles, Fanatics has it all. Don't miss out on the chance to elevate your game day experience. Head over to snowmanmultimediasports.com/fanatics and gear up like a true fan with Fanatics. Officially licensed everything.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
The Big Ten.
You can say you're not impressed. You can say you're not happy. You say all these things, but no, whatever the case may be, the Buckeyes are on top of the football world. And it's just where it is.
The SEC.
And what does Georgia do? Well, as a team that has a championship pedigree would do, they came out full guns blazing, just like a tested SEC team would do. And
Big 12.
That team right there that is ranked 15 that put up 45 points.
Yes, sir.
They were picked dead last at the beginning of the season.
The ACC.
Start with the biggest name first. Chapel Bill now. It's no longer called Chapel Hill. It's called Chapel Bill because Bill Belichick is now the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. The CLP rankings, do away with that.
Right.
Do away with it.
Bring down the gridiron on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel and where you can find podcasts. Because we take this job so serious.
My loyalties were misplaced. My judgment was clouded by the allure of the black hole and the shiny new stadium. And I messed up. I'm sorry to the entire Chargers organization, to the Bolt fam, to the players, and to everyone who has ever believed in me.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Poor Napoleon.
That one this morning. I did that one.
Pete Carroll gives a good speech.
11 on the dot, and we owe you an ID. This is Snowman in the Morning.
You're listening to WJKS-TV, your Hoosier Sports Home and Indiana Sports Hub play-by-play voice. You're listening to WHDR-DB, your radio home and voice of the Carolinas.
You're listening to WQVZ, 1700 AM Mission Radio.
Are you kidding me?
In the name of the Tom Brady, the Manny Ramirez, and the David Ortiz, amen.
You like that? You like that?
I ain't got no time for this bullshit.
There we go.
11 straight up. Arrow Marks doing 5 minutes. And it's... You know what? During the break, my wife sent me a message and she said, whatever you're planning to do, don't do it. I said, baby, what are you talking about? She goes, who's next on your hit list on who needs to do what? And I said, Cleveland? She said, don't do it.
Okay.
But we have to.
The boss has spoken.
But we have to. Because Dietz gave the simplest solution for the Cleveland Clowns.
Blow it up, start all over again.
And that's to push the plunger and blow it up. Because what do the Cleveland Antonio Clowns, thank you, Victor, actually have?
Myles Garrett.
Aside of Myles Garrett. I'll answer that for you.
Nuff and
Ing. Besides, one of the best defensive players in the game, and Myles Garrett, and congrats to him on being Defensive Player of the Year. What do the Browns have? Nut and thing.
This is where you need Hicks. You need Hicks from Aliens. What can you do? Take off, nuke the site from orbit. That's the only way to be sure. It's the only way to be sure there's nothing left of this current. And that's the only way. I mean, we talked about this, and I know. Jay Spivey had said. I know Jay Spivey has said cut ties with Deshaun Watson, but Playmaker and I looked it up.
You can't.
$82 million cap hit. If you cut him, you cannot. You can't do that.
That's too much.
For a quarterback
That is
has not
insane.
played a full season since 2000. Wait a minute. $82 million cap hit for a quarterback that has not played a full season since 2019.
Yeah, I mean, you
want a reason. You want a reason why you need to blow up the Browns, but can't? I'll give you 82 million of them.
Yeah, you can't. You have to hope. You have to hope and pray that Deshaun Watson is able to come back and be the Deshaun Watson he was from early in his Texans career. And
yes,
I think I think those days have long sailed, but that's the only thing you've got is a hope and a prayer. You've got to hope and pray that he can figure that out somehow.
Just a moment. Speaking of a hope and a prayer, there was a hope and a prayer that during the picks during the season we could take this young lady down, but she said, "Nah, I ain't having it."
I'm on the fence.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
That's a
His
drop.
face.
That's a short. That's a drop. That's a short. I got to catch up on the show today. As soon as the intro's over, you hear Pizzle say, "I'm on the fence." Which is, folks, if you watch the picks all year, which is where she lived, okay, here, give her this camera. There are two extremes in the picks when it. Oh, nice model. I like it.
Ooh, look at that.
There are two
It's my Luna
extremes.
Snow cosplay.
There are two extremes to Luna Snow when she does the picks with us. She either sits on the fence, or she says three words, and I'm not going to repeat them here.
You better not.
I can't. Ryan will get very
Then don't
mad
do
at me. I can't do it. I won't do it. Not only will Ryan get mad at me at QVZ, there's a pretty lady behind me that will march in here and get mad at me also. But in talking about in talking about that team in Cleveland, Deeds gave the most logical suggestion, but they'll never do it. Blow the whole thing up and start over. Because where do you start with Cleveland?
Well, start with the top. We gotta get a new owner.
True.
But Haslam isn't selling anytime.
You know what's bad about that, Pizzle? And to think they want a new stadium. What? I'm not kidding. There are plans being discussed for a new stadium in Berea, Ohio.
That's not Cleveland.
Really? No, it's not Cleveland.
That's not Cleveland.
But then again, I used to live in the state of Ohio, unfortunately. And there's nothing in Berea besides their practice facility.
Oh, that's why. Okay. The practice facility right there. Got it.
Same with the 49ers. All of their operations for a long time were in Santa Clara.
Yep.
So that's why Candlestick Park said farewell. And Candlestick Park was falling apart by the seams anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the difference between what the Niners transition with Candlestick Park and what the Cleveland Browns want to transition 16, 19, 23, 24, and 29. Big difference. Mm-hmm. I mean, here, do this. Oh. Even this lady right here will tell you, Cleveland, you have no shot. which she said most of the season. She sat here and said, I'm not talking about Cleveland at all. Okay.
Well, you talked about you talked about blowing you talked about blowing it up from the top down, and stop hiring guys like Field Yates to run your team. I mean, this is the problem. You have guys who don't want to be the GM of your team. They want to work at another network and be able to be touted as, oh, this guy was a GM. Yeah, you were the GM for the Cleveland Browns, and look how you've run them into the ground. So stop with these guys. Stop bringing these guys in.
I think this guy will agree with you. Please help me welcome the man in charge of the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, one of our chief carriers of Snowman in the Morning, Mr. Errol Marks. Morning, E. What's going on?
So I was trying to get the link. I was trying to get the link on my my email, but I couldn't find it. So I went to the old email that you sent me, and I jumped on. So
okay, good. I'll make
well,
sure.
Hey, you came at the right time, Errol. You came at the right time because we just finished talking about the Cleveland Browns, so we can only go up from here.
I don't know if you could go up from there. I mean, you got the Jets. I mean,
it only gets better from the Cleveland Browns. So
let me get this in here for Errol. And Errol said something when I appeared on his show, and I'll never forget it. He says, "I understand what it's like when you cheer for a team and they make you want to punch a wall every day." And then he coupled it with, "Hey, I'm a Jets fan. I get it." So we're in the midst of our what must your team do to reach a Super Bowl or get back to the Super Bowl. Of course, the Jets haven't been there since Super Bowl III. They've come close twice in the terms of 3 times, I should say, 98, 2010, and 2011, being in the AFC Championship. Errol, I toss it to you. What do the Jets have to do? And I know you're going to punch every wall in the book that you could think of.
Well, before Errol answered, Errol, did you hear the show on Monday?
yes.
Did you hear my Snowman asked me this question, and my answer was make Errol Marks VP of football operations. That's my fix right there.
First of all,
I'll give you the floor, Errol.
My heart goes out to Joe Namath. There was an announcement yesterday that he has stage 3 cancer, possibly stage 4. Yep. So that came out yesterday. So, I mean, a lot of people think that Joe Namath put a jinx on the New York Jets, sold his soul to the devil, and the only way the Jets win a Super Bowl is when he goes. So, I'm not wishing Joe Namath to go, but
no.
That's a horrible story. That's horrible for the Jet fan to hear that Joe Namath could be, very, very sick and might not live to see, the Jets winning a Super Bowl at any point. But what do the Jets have to do? Well, first thing,
the look on his face, folks. The look on his face, folks, says it all.
I honestly, if I was the GM of the organization, it's pretty simple. I had to find a quarterback. Now, bringing in Frank Wright, I think it's a start. I think he's a competent offensive coordinator. He's not a very accomplished coach. We've seen that. Right. He's been in college all season long, so he's been away from the NFL for about a year and a half. So I think bringing him back to the NFL, I think the guy's been very successful. He's won 2 Super Bowls as an offensive coordinator. I think he understands how to run a good offense, but he needs a competent quarterback that can throw the ball. Atlanta came out the other day. I mean, obviously Matt Ryan, who obviously doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He won't even announce that Michael Penix is the future of this team, which makes absolutely no sense. But that just shows you how incompetent the Atlanta Falcons are. I think Michael Penix is a great quarterback. If the Jets can reach out to Atlanta and maybe make a move to bring Michael Penix in, I would do that. I don't think you have to give up much to get Michael Penix, maybe a second and a fourth. I think he's a competent quarterback. He's a guy that you can obviously build your organization with. I think we've seen what he's done in the national championship, taking Washington to a national championship, maybe that. Or Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins obviously is not going to be back next year. They're not going to take on that contract when it comes to the cap. I believe Matt Ryan's going to, obviously when the free agency market opens up, they're going to let him go. So he'll be available. I think Frank Wright is the type of offensive coordinator or bring somebody like a Kirk Cousins in. He'd be I would say, a quarterback that you can keep for a year or two. You sign him for a 2-year contract. This is not the quarterback class where you're going to be going after anybody but Mendoza. Mendoza's going to the Raiders. Yep. So I think that you could take a flyer on, on a couple of quarterbacks in the later rounds. I like the LSU quarterback. You can maybe. In the 4th round, I know the Jets have 2 4th-round draft picks. If they want to move up to the 3rd round, if they feel that there's a quarterback available in the 3rd round, maybe Chambliss, you bring that guy in, you let him sit for the first 5 or 6 games, you bring him in, you see if you have something, lightning hits the bottle or whatever the hell they call it. If one of those guys are not the guy, next year's class is a competent, great quarterback class where you have Sellers, you have Sayan, you have Manning. You have these type of quarterbacks that are going to be available. Moore, who's, in my eyes, a little girl. He wouldn't come out this year because he didn't want to be a Jet. I really believe the reason why that Dante Moore did not come out of the draft is because he did not want to be drafted by the New York Jets. And that's fine. It's fine. But who's he going to be drafted next year? I mean, when you know about the top of the class and the type of teams that are going to be looking for a quarterback, they're going to be really, really bad. Miami might be looking for a quarterback next year. They're going to be bad. The Jets, obviously Cleveland. I mean, there are teams. Atlanta might be looking for a quarterback next year. So I mean, there are a couple of teams that could be looking. How about the Texans? If C.J. Stroud fails this coming year again, are they going to extend him? I don't think they will. I think they'll let him go.
I don't think they will either.
So they're going to be looking for a quarterback too. So there are a couple of teams. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was a guy that I thought was going to be a guy that had one more year to prove himself. But after this year, I thought Trevor Lawrence had a good year under the new coach and coaching staff, especially Cohen. So I think Trevor Lawrence is safe. But there are teams that are going to be looking for a quarterback. So what do the Jets do? I mean, Breece Hall is a guy that I would franchise in the offseason. If you're going to move him to a team that's going to give you a 3rd-round draft pick. They couldn't get a 3rd-round draft pick during the trade deadline. The only team that was offering something around that was Kansas City. They were offering him a 4th. The Jets thought that Breece Hall is one of the elite running backs in the league, top 10 running backs. So the Jets were not willing to give him up for a 4th-round draft pick. So I think they franchise him. I think George Pickens is a guy that I would absolutely look at. If the Cowboys can't afford him, the Jets have the 3rd most money in all of the league. You put him with Garrett Wilson. I mean, you have as good of a tandem in the NFL. You saw what George Pickens could do as a number 1. Now you put him you put him with a guy like Garrett Wilson, who's a great route runner. So that's where I would go. You got to build on the offense. I don't think I know everybody keeps talking about Jeremiah Smith, but Jeremiah Smith is next year. And where is Jeremiah Smith going to be drafted? He's going to be drafted in the top 3, top 4, top 5. And I know the Jets have 3 first-round draft picks next year, but you're going to be reaching because you're going to be looking to overpay and overmove to get that quarterback that you want. I could see Arch Manning, a guy that the Jets are going to be gunning for, but there's a lot. And is Archie Manning going to allow his grandson to go to the Jets? Peyton Manning had a chance to come out and and he went back to Tennessee in his senior year, and the Jets drafted Keyshawn Johnson. We all know how that went. So there's a lot of thought of where the Jets have to go. Obviously in this draft, pass rush should be an important piece to where the Jets should be looking, and I think I want Bain, but what I'm hearing is that they're if they're going to draft that 2, it's going to be Reese, the linebacker from Ohio State. They like him because he could be a pass rush. He could be an inside and outside linebacker. You can use him in multiple positions. The Jets' weakness ever since C.J. Mosley has retired has been the linebacker position. And I do not believe they're going to bring Quincy Williams back. So I think they're going to have to re-up on that linebacking core. So if I was the GM for the New York Jets, I think in free agency, I bring in a wide receiver. I bring in the best wide receiver available. I even if I have to overpay for him, because you need offense. The Jets' problem last year was on the offensive side of the ball. And as far as the defense is concerned, Aaron Glenn's going to be calling the plays. It's not going to be Wink Martindale. I know there's rumors about a player that could be interested in coming to the Jets from the Lions. He's a free agent. I'm not going to mention his name because I think everybody knows who I'm talking about. But I think what they need to do, if Aaron Glenn's going to run the offense, they have to bring in guys that understand how to read the literature of the offense, and they got to bring in some of those line guys, guys that are actually going to be able to lead some of these youngsters. And again, the Jets, they have a lot of draft stock. For all the people, all the Jet fans out there that are thinking that the Jets don't have something to look forward to, they do. Now, Moji's going to have to draft right, and draft picks are as good as the guy that's picking them. So we don't know how Moji is going to be looking at this draft and looking at the talent in this draft and seeing how he is going to attack it. What I would say is they need a corner. I like the Clemson kid. You're drafting at 16 with the Indianapolis Colts pick. I think you draft if the Clemson kid's sitting there, I draft him. I think he's a shutdown corner, a guy that, is a little undersized, but he reminds me of a Darrelle Revis type of player. Doesn't really get hurt. He's pretty healthy. So
yeah, he's stable.
I'm sorry.
He's very stable and very durable.
Durable, and that's been the problem with Sauce Gardner. He was not durable. He was not healthy, and Sauce, he yanks on jerseys. And look, the Jets traded Sauce Gardner for 2 first-round draft picks. He played 3 games with the Colts. He was out for the season. So I think the Jets made the right decision parting ways with him. And there was a lot of cancer in the locker room with Aaron Glenn. Phillips came out at Radio Row recently, and he said there was a lot of cancer in the locker room. He felt bad for Aaron Glenn, and Phillips was one of the team leaders of the defense. He said, how do you expect to come in every single day and work with a bunch of people that are cancerous and making everything worse for the younger players to really develop? So you need to get the right guys in that locker room that's going to help some of the young talent that's there and help them develop. But I don't, with the NFL in any other sport, the NFL can transition pretty quick. If you make the right moves in the offseason, the Jets can go from a 3-win team to a 9-win team or a 10-win team. I don't think the Jets are going to win 10 games this year, no matter what moves they make, because they need a quarterback. But I think what the Jets need to prove, and if Aaron Glenn wants to keep his job, Aaron Glenn needs to prove that he's competent. Aaron Glenn needs to prove that these guys are going to listen to him and he can lead them. If they can't, remember, Moji did not pick Aaron Glenn. So Moji, that wasn't his guy. So if Aaron Glenn gets fired in the offseason after this coming in, and I'm going to tell you, he's going to have a short leash. If Aaron Glenn starts the season with 5 losses, they're going to fire him. They're going to give the reins to Frank Wright. Frank Wright will he'll have to prove himself for the last 12 to 13 games. If he can, maybe he wins the job. If he doesn't, you know what Moji's going to do. Moji's going to go after his own head coach. And I think if you were to ask me right now, the Jets need to get a veteran guy in there. If Aaron Glenn does not work, no more of these rookie coaches. You need to bring in John Gruden. You need to bring John in. I know a lot of teams have not given him another shot. The Jets reached out to him to be the offensive coordinator. He did not want to be the offensive coordinator for Aaron Glenn. So, but if he gets an offer as the head coach, I think obviously he'd take the job. And if the Jets draft Reese, who do you think Reese is working out with right now in the offseason? He's working out with John Gruden. So I think that John Gruden would make a lot of sense if the Jets are trying to bring in a Bill Parcells type of personality, a guy that understands how to win, how to build an organization from top to bottom. I think Moji is a guy that I trust. Listen, say whatever you want about Moji and the New York Jets. Moji did a lot of great things during the season. He made 2 big moves. They got a first and a second for Quentin Williams, and they got they got 2 first-round draft picks for Sauce Gardner. The Jets are set up very, very good. Now, the Jets are sitting at 2 right now. The Jets could trade down at 2, still get the pass rusher that they want. If there's a team willing to reach at a player that they want, the Jets could trade down from 2 to 6 or 2 to 7, get another first-round draft pick next year. They have 4 first-round draft picks, and next year's class, as everybody is saying, is the class that you want to be in. So, and now then the Jets have a pick of the litter on who they want their quarterback to be, if they want to draft a wide receiver, whatever they want to do. So, I think it's going to be 3 years where the Jets are going to be obviously a consistent organization and a contender. So I know a lot of Jet fans say, everybody says that. Oh, it takes 2 years, 3 years. I don't know if Aaron Glenn's the guy. After what I heard over the last couple of weeks, what he did to Wink Martindale, asking Wink Martindale to come back for a second interview. The Jets did not pay for that second interview. Wink thought he was going to sign a contract with the Jets before he left the facility. And Aaron Glenn said, well, I'm calling the plays. You're going to be the other guy. And Wink Martindale told him to fly kite. He left the facility. So you can tell that there's some kind of not connected pieces in that organization. And Aaron Glenn, even with Aaron Glenn with the situation with Aaron Rodgers, he told Aaron Rodgers to come for a meeting. Aaron Rodgers flew himself over there to the Jets, and before Aaron Rodgers, this is what was said to the media, is Aaron Rodgers didn't even have an opportunity to speak. He said, we're going another round. We thank you for all your your time here with the New York Jets. We're going with a new quarterback. I mean, if you're an organization like the New York Jets, you don't tell one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, well, we don't need you. Goodbye. Go find another job. So, and Aaron Rodgers had a pretty good season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Say whatever you want, he did. I mean, he's not the Aaron Rodgers of old with the Green Bay Packers, but he was more competent. He was more competent than Justin Fields. So, if I was a GM right now, and everybody asked me, like, if you were the GM of the organization, what would you do? Defense, pass rushers, that's what the Jets need. They haven't had a pass rusher since John Abraham. I go Bain at number 2. That's what I would do.
Ruben Bain. And that's the pick that Chris Dietz was talking about for the longest time, Ruben Bain. And Dietz also has a question. Go ahead, Dietz.
Yeah, go.
Well, you mentioned about finding a second wide receiver. What about if you can't find that second wide receiver? What about bringing in a competent tight end? Because the Jets haven't had a competent tight end since what? Kyle Brady? If you even want to call him competent, I mean, they haven't had a guy at that position.
I think Taylor looked really good this year, especially in the second half. I mean, they drafted him in the second round. He looked really, really good. I mean, as a Jet fan, I think he had over 600 yards. I mean, and remember, he was really used as a number 2 tight end until the second half of the season. So, and I think Mason Taylor is going to be really, really good in this league. LSU, like I said, they could bring in the LSU quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round. Nussmeier and take a flyer on Nussmeier. Nussmeier was going to be a first-round draft pick last year. He had a bad season with Brian Kelly. He's going to fall in this year's draft. Some people say he's going to fall to the 4th round. The Jets have 2 4th-round draft picks. Move up, get Nussmeier. Let Nussmeier ride the bench for the first 5 to 6 games and see what you have with Nussmeier. If Nussmeier is a competent quarterback, you ride or die with him next year, and then you rebuild that defense. You rebuild that offensive side of the ball. Their offensive line is a good offensive line. I mean, Membu was great. Fashanu was great. They have guys. They have, I believe, the right pieces to build around that offensive line. Something that Joe Douglas couldn't really really built. I think Membu is one of the best. He was one of the best tackles this year. I think he was ranked 12th in all of the league. So they have something there. They have something there. And do they bring Elijah Vera-Tucker back on a cheap contract? I think you should. He's coming back from another injury. He's when he is playing at a top level, he's one of the best guards in the league. You bring Elijah Vera-Tucker back for a 1-year, $10 million contract to prove it. If he proves it this year, you extend him. The Jets got a lot of money, and I agree with you, man. I think the Jets need to find another option. I don't think a tight end is the guy. I think it's a wide receiver. George Pickens is the guy to go after. I think that if they can control George Pickens, which I think Aaron Glenn, I don't know if Aaron Glenn can or cannot, but could you imagine George Pickens in a Frank Wright offense? Think about
he'd see the ball a lot. He'd see the ball a lot. Let's hit the comment section real quick. Ryan McCarthy says Jets need, he agrees with you, Errol. Jets need to draft defensive line and linebacker. They had difficulty covering the tight ends all season, which is what you had mentioned many times before. They had their eye on a certain number 34 in Honolulu Blue because he can run in Aaron Glenn defense. He also says just don't let Aaron Glenn choose his quarterback. The I can fix Justin Fields narrative crashed and burned in week 2. In my eyes, it crashed and burned in week 1, but people don't want to listen to folks like us that actually know the truth. McCarthy says if Glenn has his druthers at choosing a free agent quarterback, he'd probably choose Trey Lance. Dear God in heaven.
Oh my!
No.
We all of us saw the Trey Lance experiment blow up the year he was drafted. Hell, let's be totally
we've all seen it. Snowman's seen it as a 49er. I've seen it as a Cowboy. Trey Lance is Trey Lance. He's not a quarterback.
You know what? With all the mistakes that the San Francisco made drafting Trey Lance, in the same draft they drafted Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy was a slam dunk. So they might have struck out on Trey Lance, moving up and giving up all those first-round draft picks. What saved Kyle Shanahan's job was Brock Purdy. What Brock Purdy has done. Yeah.
And I saw a clip when you I'm glad you brought that up, Errol. I saw a clip of Shanahan going to his coaches and said, I think number 13 is going to wind up being the guy. He said that after he saw Purdy throw a couple of sessions, and look what happened. Purdy's the guy. He wound up being the guy after Lance went down and after Garoppolo went down. So as soon as they went down, you bring in Brock Purdy, the rest is history. So with Nussmeier being drafted, crossing my fingers for you, Errol, by the Jets, because I think Nussmeier is a great fit for them. I think he's a great fit for them. But as you said, my man, he's got to sit and he's got to listen. He's got to learn. He's got to sit. He's got to learn.
Well, you mentioned LSU. You mentioned LSU. Well, let me tell you right now. Going into the combine, if Harold Perkins Jr. has a combine that he shows his freshman level. As a freshman, he dominated. Then he got hurt. Then they tried to move him to linebacker for some reason. If he has a combine that shows athleticism, he's going to fly up the board. That's a guy I would watch. Harold Perkins Jr. is a monster.
So number 55 over here on the right side. There you are.
That's me.
You were shaking your head when it came to Nussmeier. Why do you like Nussmeier for the New York Jets?
I was shaking my head about it.
Yeah, you were like you like that take, or that Nussmeier would be a good.
It would be different from what they're opposed to. I mean, especially last year, but it would fit. I think it would fit, especially with Frank Reich.
It's competence at the quarterback position, especially under Frank Reich. Because we all saw what Frank
and his
Reich
connection
did
with Mason Taylor too.
Bingo. That connection there could light the Jets up.
I also think that Kirk Cousins is his competent option. I think that's where the Jets are going to go in the offseason. They're going to bring in Kirk Cousins. Here's the reason why. You bring in a veteran quarterback. You start him for 2 years. You have him obviously help these young kids. If they draft Nussmeier or Chambliss, they're riding the bench. Once these guys get an opportunity, even next year, if they draft a quarterback like a Manning or a Sellers or whoever they draft next year, those guys will have an opportunity to sit behind a competent quarterback that'll actually help him develop. I'll say this about Kirk Cousins. I met Kirk Cousins twice. Kirk Cousins is one of the most laid-back, nicest quarterbacks. He's not overzealous. He's not a guy that is going to look at you that you're going to take my job away from you, so I'm not going to help you like an Aaron Rodgers. He's the type of guy that's going to sit there. He's going to explain the X's and O's. He's going to teach you what he sees what he sees and what he's reading on the defensive side of the ball. I think Kirk Cousins is the type of guy that you bring him in. And by the way, there is a connection with Kirk Cousins and the New York Jets because the Jets wanted to bring Kirk Cousins in 2 years ago, and they struck out on that. So I think Moji is first of all, he comes from the Broncos organization. Moji, if anybody knows anything about Darren Moji was the guy that decided that to bring Peyton Manning bring Peyton Manning there. He was the guy. He was the assistant GM when that decision was made. He also was the guy that wanted to draft Bo Nix. So I think that there's a lot of understanding of what Darren Moji is. I think Darren Moji is a competent guy. I think he knows what he's doing. I don't think the Jets are put in a bad position with that. What scares me about the Jets is if Aaron Glenn is not the guy, you're going into another offseason looking for the guy. And even if you let Darren Moji decide that this is the guy, you have to pick a veteran coach next time. Think about it. Look at every single coach the Jets have had over the last 20 years. Besides Bill Parcells, every one of them was a rookie coach. Rex Ryan, Eric Mangini, Todd Bowles. You go on and on and on. They were all rookie coaches. It hasn't worked. You got to bring in a guy that's won a Super Bowl. And Mike McCarthy was the guy. I honestly thought the Giants struck out on that. I think Mike McCarthy would have been the guy to go to the New York Giants. I think he's going to help Jackson. He would have helped Jackson Dart. You bring in a John Harbaugh, which I wrote a story. Who's he developed? Who's John Harbaugh developed? Lamar Jackson, the guy that was there, they built their offense around him, the organization, and that was Ozzie Newsome's guy. He was the last guy that Ozzie Newsome drafted. Okay?
Yeah, it was.
And Lamar Jackson pretty much told the organization he didn't want John Harbaugh there anymore. Fire him. And that's why John Harbaugh was looking for a job. John Harbaugh hired three offensive coordinators. He hired Callahan, he hired Roman, and he hired Nagy. I mean, you brought in that was very Jet-esque. That's what the Jets did with Robert Saleh. You brought in two offensive coordinators to run an offense. Oh, Roman knows how to run the running back offense, and Nagy knows how to run the wide receivers in the throwing game. What the hell is that? I mean, you bring in one competent guy that can run the offense, and I think it's going to fail. The Giants made a big mistake bringing John Harbaugh in.
What about another Super Bowl winning coach who doesn't have a job right now? And since we're talking about the AFC North, what about Tomlin?
Tomlin next year is going to have his pick of the litter. Now, if Tomlin, he's going to be working for Fox this year. He's getting a lot of money. He's never done broadcasting. He's going to be working with Gronk, and he's going to be working with all the guys over there. Johnson retired, so you're going to have the opportunity to bring in a coach there that's never done it before. If a guy like Tomlin is comfortable doing that, like Howard, why would he go back? Why would he have to deal with building an organization and building a team? He's 54 years old. He's a little bit younger than Coward was when he decided to step away from the game. And remember, his wife died. Coward's wife died from cancer, so he wanted to raise his daughters. So he wanted to spend some time with his family, so he didn't want to go back into coaching. I think Tomlin's still a youthful coach. I think that if the right job comes along, that he has a lot of control over the roster, I think he'll take the job. Now, who do I think he could go to? Good question. Miami would be a team. I know they hired a new coach. Miami would be a team that if it doesn't work out there in his first year, Mike McDaniel, I couldn't believe Miami fired him. I couldn't believe it.
Thank you very much.
Wait. Miami fired him. That was me. Remember, I literally fired him 5 minutes before he got fired.
He did because Deed said before, I remember that episode so well. Deed said before we went to a break, and Errol, I know this has happened to you on your show also, which I'm a big fan of. Y'all check out Job at Your Mouth. Deed literally said before the break that Mike McDaniel is going to get fired. And all of us, Jen included, were like, nah, that's not gonna happen. We go to break for 180 seconds, and I had to break in when the news dropped that McDaniel got fired. And Deed jumped all over and had fun with it and said, I did it again.
The look on Pizzle's face when that happened.
Oh my God! Yes,
I didn't understand. First of all, Mike McDaniel is my favorite coach. If I were the Jets in the offseason, if you strike out on a John Gruden, if you strike out on a John Gruden or Mike Tomlin, Mike McDaniel is a guy I want to bring in. First of all, he's exciting. Yep, there it is. He's exciting. I called him Mighty Mouse. I think just everything about him. Yep. He's a weird guy, but he's such a good mental, offensive guy that understands the offensive style of game. He loves speed.
Right.
He really built that offense, Miami's offense, through speed. They were one of the fastest teams in the NFL.
Right.
I just love his personality. So we had a lot of anchors, Miami Dolphin anchors that have come on the show, and we talked about him. And I said, one of the funniest things you know about Mike McDaniel is they have. And so when everybody goes, when the media is interviewing the coaches and the players, they have a step-on stool for Mike McDaniel to step on because he wasn't long enough to talk into the mic. So he would stand on a step-on stool to talk to the media.
Yep.
And he's one of the more unique, personnel. I think he's going to do great with the Chargers. I'm going to tell you this right now. The Chargers offense, Justin Herbert is going to be up for an MVP this year.
I believe it.
They're gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Herbert throws for 5,000 yards this year.
Ooh, and plus on top of that, and we had talked about this earlier in the week. They're going to get both their tackles back. They're going to get their bookend tackles back from injury because Rashawn Slater, a Northwestern graduate, thank you very much, and Joe Alt, Joe Alt Jr., I believe, is from Notre Dame, if memory serves me correct. Those are your bookends. Those are your bookends.
Dude, you have Mekhi Becton as your guard, who was an all-pro player the year before that, who they signed, who couldn't stay healthy. You have Johnson. That could be the best offensive line in the NFL. And now you have Mike McDaniel running your offense and having the opportunity to build that offense behind him. I think it's a slam dunk from the Chargers. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're a betting man, and I don't know if Vegas right now is making bets, and if it's a plus 3,000, bet on the Chargers going to the Super Bowl next year. Bet on them.
They got to get somebody. They got to get somebody who can catch. They got to get somebody who can catch the ball. That's not Keenan Allen, because Keenan Allen has been there for what 25 years now. I mean, they got to get somebody. They got to get somebody else.
This will be Keenan's Pizzle. You're in charge of live research today. I think this is Keenan's 14th year.
Yep.
I think this will be his 14th year. But here's what a lot of people don't remember about Mike McDaniel. Before
2013, so it'll be 13 years.
13th year. Here's what a lot of people don't remember about Mike McDaniel. Before he was hired by the Dolphins, where was he?
San
Francisco. And he unlocked a lot with that offense. And I think Mike McDaniel was unfairly fired in Miami. In fact,
and you just said it, and Snowman, you just said it. You know what? I'm gonna throw something that might stick. If Shanahan does not have a good season with San Francisco, this might be his last year. I could see San Francisco parting ways with Shanahan and bringing Mike McDaniel in.
Going after Mike McDaniel. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. Because McDaniel knows that offense and he can unlock that offense. I want to see what they do in the draft first because they got to get some hands. Period. They got to get some hands. They do not have a receiving core. Pearsall can't stay healthy. We don't know if Ayuk's going to be there. I would guess not. You lost Kittle. We don't know if he's going to be there at the top of the season, though he says he's going to try to. And McCarthy, you quit your groaning because we're breaking down your team right now. That's a ongoing friendly war between McCarthy and myself. But we'll see. We will see about all of that. McDaniel is a slam dunk with the Chargers, an absolute slam dunk. And what hurt the Chargers late in the season, ladies and gentlemen, we all talked about it. Injuries. Because they lost 2/5 of their offense. They lost the two biggest pieces of their offensive line, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. Now they're going to be back and healthy. Mekhi Becton, Errol, as you mentioned, is there. They get a couple of receivers. Justin Herbert's going to be unlocked big time. So I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on that bet either.
Take this as a slam dunk. Miami is going to be looking to trade Waddle in the offseason and Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill. They're probably gonna, because they almost traded Waddle at the trade deadline. They have to
unload Waddle. They have to unload Waddle, and they definitely have to unload Hill.
No, he's a building block. We're not letting him go.
I know you're a Miami Dolphins fan, but I could see Miami obviously bringing in a new GM and a new coach. I could see them moving away from Waddle and building their own. Remember, they're Green Bay Packers. Both guys are from the Green Bay Packers. So what they do over there is they build around the draft. That is not their guys, and I could see Waddle being traded. And if Waddle is up or Tyreek Hill is up to be traded, they know Mike McDaniel's offense. Who do you think is going to be gunning for him? The Chargers. So I could see Tyreek Hill is definitely getting traded in the offseason. Definitely.
Yes.
And either Kansas City or the Chargers make a lot of sense. Yep. And don't be surprised if the Chargers make the move for a Tyreek Hill. So I believe that's a possibility. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're a betting man or woman, and I'm telling you this, and you guys might think I'm nuts. I think Justin Herbert was up for an MVP in the first 10 games of the season.
And then
the injuries started to happen, and he has no weapons, Justin Herbert, and he's putting up big numbers. If you give Justin Herbert a competent wide receiver and a competent offensive coordinator that knows the play calling and stuff. By the way, Jim Harbaugh has been there for 2 years. He's had 2 seasons with 11 or more wins. I mean, how many coaches that goes to an organization who left the NFL, goes to an organization and automatically finds a way to win? So Jim Harbaugh is one of the more known and more respected coaches in the NFL. He is a slam dunk. I'm telling you right now, the Chargers going to a Super Bowl, the AFC is so weak. It is very weak. Buffalo has a new coach. Pittsburgh has a new coach. Baltimore has a new coach. All these teams have a new coach. And Miami.
And the Chiefs don't have Patrick. And the Chiefs don't have Patrick Mahomes this year.
And the Patriots. And the Patriots have they're finally going to be walking into a hard schedule. By the way, let's ask the Patriot fans how Drake May played throughout the playoffs. He had the easiest schedule in the NFL all season long. And then he played against top-end teams in the AFC. He didn't put up any good numbers in any one of those games. And then look what he did in the Super Bowl. He bombed in the Super Bowl.
Nothing. Pizzle, how do we say it here? Nothing. Nuth and Ing in the Super Bowl. He got sworn.
Hey, Errol, as a New York guy, and we've talked a lot about the Jets, and I've heard a lot about the Jets. Are you noticing people are not talking about the Giants as much?
You want me to tell you why?
I would like to know why, because usually it's the other way around. People are talking about the Giants and not the Jets. I hear a lot of people talking Jets and not Giants this year.
So I'm going to tell you why. They brought in John Harbaugh, but after they brought in John Harbaugh, that Steve Tisch story came out. You guys know about Steve Tisch being on the Epstein files and all that kind of stuff. So here in New York, they're always trying to find something about the Jets to kind of hide and brush what the Giants are doing under the rug. The Giants right now, they think that they have a competent quarterback. Jackson Dart is the guy, and that's why they think the Giants are in a better position than the Jets. Here's the problem with the Giants. They got $11 million to spend in the offseason. That means they're going to have to move Jackson Dart. We had Howard Cross on our show last week, and I asked Howard, how is this going to work? And he says, well, we're going to probably he believes that a guy like Dexter Lawrence could be moved. But Dexter Lawrence was not healthy this year. And I still think he's one of the best defensive linemen in the league. You're going to move from this guy, and who are you going to bring in to fill in his spot? The Giants, to me, are the most incompetent team here in New York, from Buffalo and the Jets, because they brought in John Harbaugh. They overpaid for John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh brought in his coaching staff. His coaching staff, they brought in all these offensive guys, all these guys that were incompetent where they were. Think about it. Nobody wanted Nagy. Kansas City let him go. And the only reason why Kansas City let him go is because, as Andy Reid said that he wants to he thinks that he has the opportunity to call his own play calls. Really? He goes to the Giants, and now you bring in Greg Roman, and you bring in Brian Callahan. How does that make sense?
And Greg Roman, look, Greg Roman, to me, is one of the most incompetent coordinators ever, period. I hate Greg Roman with a passion. I hate Greg Roman more than I hate the 88-89 Detroit Pistons, which is saying something because I love old school basketball. No, let me change that. I love old school basketball. Let me change that. Errol's a baseball guy. He'll get this one. I hate Greg Roman more than I hate Greg Roman more than I hate the Chicago Cubs. And y'all know all my stories about the Chicago Cubs over the course of 12 years. All right. But why did they hire? Why Greg Roman? Why? Is that the only guy they could get? Is that the only guy they had a chance to get?
Well, I'll tell you this.
He's a Harbaugh guy.
The Jets interviewed Greg Roman one time, and that was all the Jets wanted to interview him as. I don't think that Greg Roman is a competent offensive coordinator. When he was with Baltimore as an offensive coordinator, it failed. John Harbaugh fired him, and now he brings him in as the second assistant offensive coordinator. It makes no sense. It's very Jet-esque. It's very Jet-esque. This is something that the Jets and Robert. And by the way, what is the Tennessee Titans doing? You bring in Robert Saleh and Brian Dable. I mean, come on.
I love that.
What the hell are they doing? I love Cam Ward, by the way.
If y'all hadn't had a chance, if y'all hadn't had a chance to check out worldwidesportsradio.com, please do, because there's an article that Errol wrote where he called Robert Saleh Bambi. I read it. He said it on the show when I jumped on the show, and I laughed my head off the entire time because it's a great comparison.
You know why I gave him the nickname Bambi?
Tell him. Go ahead. Tell him.
Because he's a deer in the headlights.
Deer in headlights. So and now he's now twice.
He has this saying, all gas, no brakes. The only thing that the Jets were playing at a speed was brake. I mean, the Jets were horrible with Robert Saleh. He's a good defensive coordinator. He's dude. If you look at the Jets defense, what they were ranked when he was there, they were ranked in the top 5 all the years that he was there. So he's a great defensive mind, but as a head coach, he's going to be a failure. And Brian Dable, now there was a story that Brian Dable wanted to draft Cam Ward and he wanted to work with Cam Ward. I don't think Brian Dable will ever be an offense. I don't think Brian Dable will ever be a head coach in the NFL ever again, because he doesn't get along with people. He had to fire 5 coaches. After his second season, after the failure of a second season that they had, and he fired Wink Martindale. As a matter of fact, he couldn't even speak to Wink Martindale in the same headset. That they had to split the headset so they couldn't interact with each other. So there's a reason why the Giants are being spoken about. Is one. First of all, the Giants right now they brought in John Harbaugh, so all the Giant fans think, oh, You should hear what Aaron Fishman says on our show, my executive producer. He says, "Oh, I think the Giants could win 10 or 11 games." I said, where? You're bringing Malik Neighbors back. Malik Neighbors is coming from a torn ACL, or his game is all about speed. They can't re-sign Robinson, who was one of the better wide receivers in the league. He's going to free agency. They have no offensive options. You're going to bet on Cam Scatterbo? Come on, guys. Does that make any sense? They don't have a competent offense. Maybe that's why they brought in 3 offensive coordinators, because their offense is going to be crap. So they have no offensive options, and now they think that Jackson Dart's their savior. And I told him straight out, I'm not a homer. I attack my teams. And if you watch my show, you would know that you wouldn't even believe that I was a Yankee fan or I was a Jet fan, because all I do is smash the Jets, the Yankees, the Knicks. I just tell you how it is. If I think that they're not good and they're not confident,
it's like I said when I brought you in. And it's the funniest line I've ever heard. When you told me, Snowman, I understand what it's like being a fan. I know what it's like being a fan, and you want to punch a wall every day. Hey, I'm a Jets fan. I have not stopped laughing at that line since. but it's the truth though, and that's what we do.
You see these green screens? You see these green screens?
Yes.
Screens, guys? This is my studio. I have a big professional studio here. And if you saw my professional studio, the reason why the green screens are there is because I put holes through the wall. So that's the truth. That's true.
Understood.
By the way,
understood.
So
I love it.
Believe it or not, there's been enough holes in these walls over the last couple of years watching the Jets, watching the Knicks, watching the Yankees, watching the Islanders. And I'm an honest fan, but when you watch my show as an analyst, and you guys know this, when you talk sports, you got to be fair to the fans that are listening. By the way, yesterday we were ranked 106th in the whole country. Our podcast was ranked.
Nice.
So
I love it.
And I'd like to thank everybody that has tuned in and followed us and been watching us. And we had over almost 311,000 downloads last month on Apple and Spotify. So thank you to all the fans that tune into us.
Awesome.
And
beautiful. I love it.
We're growing, and listen, Snow, when you come on our show, you're one of the most knowledgeable personalities in this industry. I don't think people understand, and I'm not trying to blow your head up. You've worked so hard you're a fighter. You fought through cancer. You fought through all the stuff that you've been through in the past, and look where you are today. And I do believe you're as good as anybody when it comes to play-by-play. And when it comes to radio personalities, I think all it takes is the opportunity and somebody to give you the opportunity to really become the face of their organization. And I think one day you will get there. I really do believe that. So, and your guys, all your guys and gals that have been on your show, I watch your show, and I tune into some of the crazy stuff that you guys say, including the guy with the green hat on and holding a stick. I think you guys are very unique individuals, and if anybody watches our show, we have a lot of personalities. And one of the things that a lot of our guests say that why they come on our show, and we get a lot of great guests, is that you're not the everyday interview that we come to understand. You guys are guys that you're like, if you're sitting at a lunchroom table or a dinner table and you're having conversations with your friends, you're gonna have fun and you're gonna kind of spit your craziness, but also give good content when it comes to those guests. So I want to say that you guys are hardworking, dedicated to your product, and guys, keep up doing what you're doing. I've been doing it for 13 years, and I'm finally getting the recognition that I never got. I mean, I'm still growing as a personality. And you always got to believe that you want to grow. If you're not growing, you're not going to succeed. And I tell my guys all the time, all the work, all the dedication I put into it, and we have a lot of things coming up this coming year, and maybe we're doing something at American Whiskey here in New York, in Manhattan, coming up soon. Why don't you guys come up here and do your show with us?
I'll see if we can pull it off. I'll see if we can pull it off, because what I want to do eventually is take the crew and the show on the road again. Because I was doing it all throughout Indiana, and I was doing it in parts of North Carolina before I got stricken with cancer. But I am recovered, I am in remission, and I'm ready to take the show on the road again. We just have to.
If you're going on the road and planning to take me with you, you're gonna need to get one of them special robot machines for VTubers.
We'll work on it.
I will say this. Jabba owns American Whiskey, and we're working on doing a live show in front of a packed crowd of fans in Manhattan. It's right around the corner from Madison Square Garden.
Nice.
And, if you guys want to come out here, we would love for you to come out here and kind of add some content to what we're doing on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network and Job in the Mouth.
Look, MSG is one of my bucket list places to see. MSG is one of my it's not only a bucket list place for me to see, it's a bucket list place for me to call a game from. That's one of my wishes, because I've already conquered every major stadium in Chicago and parts of Indiana. I nearly got the chance to do it in North Carolina, but then COVID happened. So y'all know the end of that story. And we got to go. Errol, a pleasure, my friend. I love you very, very much. You mean the world to me, man. I mean it.
Thank you.
Here, give me this camera. You mean the world to me. You gave me a chance, even with all my health problems that are going on. You kept saying to me, "I'm here for you whenever you're ready." Well, here we are 4 years later. One of the best teams in sports. You know, my network and your network, and my show being on your network, and it has been fun. It is fun. And I'm looking forward to what we got here in 2020 in 2026. And I'm looking forward to bringing my crew up your way so we can have some fun and create together. I love you, brother, very, very much. We love you. And thank you so much for the opportunity for me to anchor your network with Snowman in the Morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you to all you guys for letting me join you guys for the past hour. I've been sick, so when Snowman, I've been, and I do my show sick, or if I'm deathly sick, I'm doing my show. If I could speak, I'm going to do a show. So I'll be doing a show tonight. We have a great cast coming on, an ex-New York Giant. Tune in. He is part of a Super Bowl champion New York Giant team. And I'm not going to tell you until we post it, but we're very excited on a great show tonight. And guys, tune in. And Snow, call up the show, man. We love when you call up and go into the San Francisco 49ers and all the football talk that you want.
I threw some trivia questions out there last time. Might do it again. Thank you, Errol, very, very much. Love you, brother. We'll have you on again next week.
Thanks, man.
That was a fun hour, folks. That was a fun hour. And that's what Sports Talk with us, with Worldwide Sports Radio, the folks at QVZ, that's what it's all about. And
that's what it should be.
It's what it should be. Absolutely. No politics, no bad stuff. Just have fun, especially when you get the Rams, especially when you get the Rams on the Jets and the Cleveland and any team in Cleveland, which we seem to do very often. Especially when you get this pretty lady saying, "I'm sitting on a fence this week, and you can't change my mind." Or when you get this pretty lady walking by me saying, "See, there you go." When you get that pretty lady, the love of my life, just walking by and saying, "Nuh-uh, you're wrong," you have a lot of fun with it. We're getting out of here. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are just simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. And while you're at it, why don't you follow this cute person on Twitch? We're out of here. See you tomorrow. updated. And as I said, follow this cute Empress on Twitch. The podcast will get a major update today. And while you're at it, don't sit on the fence in life. Jump in, have fun.
Wow. Okay.
Utes.